Welcome back. Now, since there's not much going on in the apiary right now, I thought I'd talk about how I go about finding a new beekeeping site. Now, one of the things I've learned over the past 2 years is access is of the utmost importance. Right now, my site is amazing where honey is concerned, but as soon as it rains, the access turns into a muddy mess. So make sure that when you look for a beekeeping site, you can access it with your vehicle pretty much at all times. Another very important point would be making sure the hives are far away from anyone. You really don't want somebody random to get stung, especially if they're allergic. So keeping the bees away from any human is very important. And I'd say the third most important point is good forage. If they don't have a good source of food, your hives are not going to thrive, or you won't be able to install a lot of them. Now, what you can do to find a good apiary site is you'll use Google Earth. And then you just go to the owner of the land, try and present yourself, say you're a beekeeper, and you'd like to have bees on your land. You can print out from Google Map where you think the bees would be placed at. It always helps to bring your cleanest bee suit and maybe a jar of honey. It's a nice motivator. Something you have to look out for is the hive density. For example, once you reach a certain number of hives, you see the overall performance in yield drop. That means you've saturated the area. So it's always best to start with a small number of hives. And incrementally increase it to see at what point you'll reach saturation. Some sites can only have 2 or 3 hives, other can have 40, 100. It all depends. Another thing to look out for, is there any livestock? Are there any wild animals that are susceptible to break your hives, like bears? In that case, you'll need to fence off your hives. Something to avoid are floodplains. Like if in the spring the area floods, well, you risk losing your hives. It happened to Ian Stepler from a Canadian Beekeepers blog last year, I think, and he lost quite a few hives to flash flooding. Something that's not mandatory but good to look out for is sun protection and wind protection. The ideal spot would have, say, brush in the back or trees facing south, so you'd get some shade during the day and a good amount of wind protection. Also, make sure you look out for other apiaries. You do not want to be within 5 kilometers of another person's apiary. It's bad practice, it's unfair competition, and it carries the risk of transmitting disease. Like other smaller points, like make sure there's enough room for the amount of hives you want to place. Get written permission, not a contract, just a written permission that clearly says you can place bees there from the landlord. And if there's tenants, make sure the tenants also agree to have the bees on the land. One last small thing, like be courteous to the owner of the land. Make sure you don't litter. I hope this was useful. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Please like and subscribe.